Mr. President, ke ema mo pele ga ntlo e gompieno ke bua ke emetse boitshoko monate le Luyanda Mphandle. Makawana a mabedi a latlhegetswe ke matshelo a bone morago ga go wela mo forong ya metsi e ka fa tlase ga taolo ya lefapha la metsi le kgelelo leswe kwa motseng wa Magogong Diplankeng go masepaleng wa Greater Taung province ya Bokone Bophirima. Foro eno ya leso e gapile matshelo a bana leruo mmogo le bagolo. Le fa ba bega dikgang ba SABC le Newsroom Africa ba begile ka ga foro eno puso ya gago ya ANC e reteletswe ke go tsibogela le go kopana le baagi ba motse ono wa Magogong Diplankeng go neelana ka metlhale ya go dira gore foro eno e seke ya gapa matshelo a mangwe gape kgangkgolo e le go tlisa metsi mo motseng ono Honorable Mkhunu. Mme ke yone puso e baagi ba Bokone Bophirima ba e tlwaetseng mo tlase ga lekoko la ANC, puso e senang sepe le tlhokomelo tokafatso le ka go sešwa ya mafaratlhatlha mo metsemagaeng le makeišene go rala province ya Bokone Bophirima. Tragic how these communities will suddenly see the emergence of ANC politicians lavishly driving up and down the gravel and pothole-riddled roads that these communities use on a daily basis because ANC municipalities, provincial departments and national departments have continuously failed to spend their allocated budgets towards quality road infrastructure in these communities. What is even more tragic, Mr. President, is that you and your ministers have stood before this House and have spoken about how infrastructure plays a crucial role in the development and growth of South Africa. You have spoken about how well-developed infrastructure is essential towards economic growth, social progress, and overall competitiveness. In 2023, the ANC-governed Northwest Province allocated a paltry 5.9 billion towards infrastructure. This pales in comparison to the 32.57 billion that the DA-governed Western Cape government allocated to infrastructure over the 2023 MTEF. This to be spent on transport infrastructure, provision of housing opportunities, as well as boost education and health infrastructure. The reality, however, Mr. President, is that South Africa's entire infrastructure is on the verge of collapse. Prof. William Kumeda attributes this to the following: lack of infrastructure maintenance, corruption in dodgy BEE companies, and cadre deployment. All this under the watchful eye of a president who puts his party's interests first and those of the country and its people last. Only the removal of your ANC, Mr. President, and the introduction of a DA model of good governance will rescue South Africa from complete collapse. With criminality the order of the day in the construction sector, can you, Mr. President, care to tell our country how you decided to appoint a minister who has fundamentally legitimized the works of the construction mafia in Sitlesigalala? We know from a recent report by the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime that the disruption and blockages of construction sites cost the economy over 68 billion. Honorable Speaker, this will rise even further because Zigalala's National Forum on the Construction Mafia was nothing but another ANC-sponsored talk shop that excluded critical stakeholders. A talk shop endorsed by you, Mr. President, because despite the economic damage caused by the works of these mafias, you said absolutely nothing about them, therefore legitimizing their work. As if that is not bad enough, after your ANC government failed to pass the disastrous 18th Constitutional Amendment Bill that sought to amend Section 25 of the Constitution to allow for expropriation without compensation, your comrades are now shamelessly trying to use expropriation bill currently before the NCOP to bring expropriation of land without compensation in the back door. By giving the Minister of Public Works the power to expropriate property, and I quote, in the public interest, and that the initial offer of compensation should be made by the expropriating authority, the expropriation bill represents a material dilution of property rights and must be rejected in its entirety. Meneer de President, die wanbestuur van die Saldanha Bay hawe is wel bekend. Die wanbestuur daarvan deur die Departement Openbare Werke en Infrastruktuur plus 3000 werksgeleenthede en 'n 450 miljoen ekonomie op risiko. Tog, ten spyte van hierdie risiko, het u minister geweier om die bestuurbevoegdhede van hierdie hawe na die Saldanha Bay munisipaliteit af te wendel. 'n Munisipaliteit wat onder burgemeester Andre Bram Troeter onlangs uitgesonder is as een van die beste bestuurde munisipaliteite in die land. Teenstrydig met wat die minister gesê het, Lei u 'n party wat nie omgee vir die beskerming van werksgeleenthede en vir ekonomiese groei deur bevoegde munisipaliteite toe te laat om dit te doen wat die ANC geval het om te doen. It is for this exact reason that the Western Cape Provincial Powers Bill was introduced. To devolve powers such as policing, public transport, energy and harbours to the province in order for government to start to actually work for the people. It is therefore befitting that this is your last SONA, and a dear government stands ready to get South Africa working again. We are ready to say we are ready to rid South Africans from a rotten ANC government, and we stand ready to rescue South Africa once and for all. I thank you.
I thank you, Honourable Member.